After the events of You Only Live Twice, Bond, with his memories missing, finds himself back in London once again. So how is the man with the golden gun? Bond is acting a bit strangely. He eventually finds himself face to face with M. After attempting to kill M, Bond is revealed to have been brainwashed by the Soviets. Bond being brainwashed took place after the previous novel, and frankly that whole unseen story sounds brilliant. A story where Bond is eventually brainwashed in Cold War Russia. Brilliant, but we don't get to see any of it. Bond is cured and is soon sent off on a mission to, in a way, redeem himself. This whole opening is quite rushed. Bond acting a bit differently is great, but everything else just feels a bit too convenient and quick. As Bond is cured, his faltering and unreliable memory never really comes up again, making this opening segment feel like its own standalone story that was only included to wrap up the cliffhanger from the last novel. Bond is sent to Jamaica to kill Francisco Scaramanga, the man with the golden gun. The setup is pretty decent, and after a few large-scale novels involving Blofeld and Spectre, it's nice to have a smaller-scale adventure with Bond. It almost harkens back to the very early novels. Bond is introduced to Scaramanga much more quickly than I expected, and right from the off, you know that the later film version of the character is very different indeed. Scaramanga is blunt with a short fuse, a total contrast to his film incarnation. Bond infiltrates Scaramanga's criminal operations under the name of Mark Hazard. Bond and Scaramanga's interactions were great to read, with Bond pushing Scaramanga's buttons in just the right way. This is where the novel really works. Bond and Scaramanga's interactions. Scaramanga is suspicious of Bond already, so this adds a layer of tension to their interactions. Bond under the guise of Mark Hazard is great and makes Bond seem like a proper spy. It fits in nicely with the novel's more down-to-earth tone. Bond soon comes across Felix Leiter, who assists him in his mission whilst helping to maintain his cover. I was surprised that Leiter returned here, as I honestly thought we'd seen the last of the character. It's great that Leiter is back. His presence isn't what I'd call essential, but it certainly adds to the story and does harken back to the earlier novels when Leiter was used more regularly. The Bond girl of this novel is Mary Goodnight, who had already appeared in several previous novels as Bond's secretary. Goodnight's presence in the novel is rather forgettable, however, as there are sizable chunks of the story where she doesn't even appear. It's great, however, that the Bond girl was a character who was already established in the 007 world. Bond's eventual confrontation with Scaramanga is excellent. It had been building up throughout the novel. Given how this novel is rather short, it does feel a bit premature, but the clash between the two characters is excellent, and once again the dialogue is superb. While there is most certainly a story here, I honestly don't have a ton to say about it. It's nice to have a smaller scale story that focuses more on the criminal underbelly, but for the most part, I have very little to say about the man with the golden gun. The background to the man with the golden gun is well documented, but in essence, Fleming was in poor health, and this novel was later published posthumously. This is why the novel was fairly short compared to most of the previous entries in the series, and why certain aspects are rushed or glossed over. With all that being said, The Man with the Golden Gun was an enjoyable read, and the final Fleming Bond novel. The next Bond book I shall be taking a look at will be Octopussy and the Living Daylights, a collection of short stories and the final Fleming Bond book, and I shall see you then. Bye.